Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be talking about my latest commission series containing of 4 acrylic paintings of Metro Exodus. I honestly know nothing about the Metro Exodus games, and I was kind of afraid that this project might be super complicated with all those architecture and perspective, especially with this tunnel. Architecture is not my favorite thing to paint. I started with drawing the sketches, and after having finished the drawing, I was kind of pleased how it looked already, and so I finished up all 4 drawings at once. And the next big thing to decide was acrylics or oils. This is always an essential question when it comes to beginning a new painting. I usually prefer oils when I paint landscapes, but I'm choosing acrylics when the subject matter contains a lot of details such as animals or architecture. A major reason why I use acrylics for this project in particular is mainly the duration of the painting process and the fact that I can paint in layers. This means I can add at least 3 layers of thin acrylic paint without losing my drawing. Another reason for acrylics is that they are really beginner friendly, and in my case I chose them for this project as I never painted a scene like this before. The very first thing after having prepared my palette with the basic colors is blocking in a thin layer of tint down paint to the canvas. When diluting acrylics, they gain a transparency similar to watercolors, which is more than helpful when you don't want to cover the sketch with paint. For the first layer of any acrylic paintings, I use the wet in wet technique, which gives the painting a soft, diffused wash of color by applying diluted paint to a wet surface. Squinting my eyes while looking at the reference picture is a good help to pick the right colors. The first layer in all paintings was the sky, the basic colors of the background and the tunnel walls. To create more depth, I added more and more black and darker colors to the edges with my soft big blender brush. When blending acrylics together, I always recommend using a water spray to spray on the areas you want to blend. To refresh the lines of my sketch in a tunnel, I traced them with a brighter color such as unbleached titanium. Once this blocking in stage was done, I started with shaping, which means adding another more detailed layer. During the painting process, I increased details by using smaller and smaller brushes. I now focus on the single shapes of the piece as the tunnel walls, the buildings, the mountains or trees in the background. I paint the shapes with slightly diluted colors. I use simple dark shapes and lines to suggest shadows and objects without worrying if they look blurred or bulky, as I will fix this in my next layers. And I always keep in mind that the nearer I get to the viewer, the darker my values are. Therefore, I use darker tones or even just a thin layer of black for darkening the areas in the foreground. Gradually lightening the shade of a color creates a sense of depth, while darker, purer shades look strong and close. And therefore, I add more white to areas that appear to be further away. Each of the paintings has the sun right in the center, surrounded by clouds that are illuminated by it, and for this creation of light I softly blend titanium white with the color that dominates the sky, starting from the center. For big areas as the sky and clouds, I prefer using a soft paddle brush, while taking a round and soft one for smaller areas. The tunnel was the biggest challenge of these paintings, as there is a great amount of backlight in the center that illuminates the entrance, the lines and structure of the tunnel walls and the dark areas at the edge of the canvas. To achieve depth without repainting all the details again and again, I used a technique called glazing. Glazes are thin, transparent washes that modify colors when you layer them. This allows to create transparent mixes of color and creates luminosity and depth to the painting. The use of a masking tape helped me to get the rails done properly and straight. This was my second layer then, and I finally started with my favorite part, detailing. Adding details brings the painting to life, which is always the most enjoyable part of every piece. As you see, my brushes go smaller and smaller the further I proceeded. This is now the time for my detail brushes. Here we are now back at the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the process. I hope you enjoyed the whole video in general. And if you did, you know what to do. Thanks for watching.